Hello and welcome to Access Astrology. We are three astrologers who are fascinated by how astrology unfolds in our daily life, in our metaphysics, in the political headlines, in the mundane, the spiritual, and the political. So, this is Heather Rowan Robbins, and I'm speaking to you tonight from Ronan, Montana, where it snowed today, though it was 80 degrees 2 days ago. And I'm joined by Mark.
Mark Waltz, normally from New York City, but right now I'm up in Massachusetts in the mountains, the Berkshire Mountains.
Wonderful. And we hope to be joined by Ann Ortley down in Florida, but she can be a busy lady. So hopefully she'll show up. Tonight, there's still a lineup of planets in Aries. And so the Middle East continues to bubble with Neptune, Saturn, Mercury, uh, Mars, Chiron, all still in Aries, even though the sun has gone into Taurus and lowered the heat a little bit a few days ago. The moon is in Leo tonight, is coming to oppose Pluto over the evening. And so it should be some interesting dreams tonight and could mm, bring something to a denouement the uh, over the evening. Check the headlines in the morning to see if anything exciting is happening there. I noticed last week we talked about Friday's full new moon in Aries at 27 degrees of Aries. Now that moon, that day I had a blood pressure spike, and there was all those planets in Aries. I said, "Don't worry, this is not normal. This is just the Aries new moon." Uh, a huge spike of Aries planets. And I found several other people reported health issues related to inflammation or spike in blood pressure or something where it was very Aries, that kind of spiky, fiery Aries energy.
Mhm.
How did you notice it, Mark?
I noticed it mainly through friends.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had something to do,
Yeah.
and it had to do with me.
It's that you have to go do it with them. You can't.
Yeah,
They should go
exactly.
do it. Yeah, and it was very busy in the weather systems. 80 tornadoes that day.
Wow.
80 tornadoes. Just that's wind with fire. It's the tumultuousness, and we talked about it being a tumultuous time, and it certainly has been exciting uh, on the international front. So I noticed that after that new moon in Aries at the late degrees on over the weekend on Sunday and Monday, we had a lineup of planets at 7 degrees. We had that Mercury, Saturn, and Mars all conjunct in. Yes, we are talking about the new moon that was last Friday. And then this over last Sunday, we had a Mercury, Saturn, and Mars conjunction in Aries. Now that hit exactly on my moon. And my moon is in the seventh house, which is the house of partnership. I was fine, and my mate was fine. But my mate, who is an Aries, felt and is been dealing with some long-term health stuff to work on. Ren's moon conjuncts progressed moon is conjunct Jupiter at the moment and needed to be free in Sagittarius and needed to be free. So Ren has left today for a 2-week camping trip with the camper. Well, got lots of supplies, a solo journey to Canyonlands, and really living out that Aries need to kind of just not ask for permission once you're on the road and just go. Was very responsible about it, did it well. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed because I'd like to keep Ren safe. But I was so glad to see Ren express it that way. Like I just need to go spend some time on my own. And I think it may be the last trip because Ren's dealing with Parkinson's, and last big trip by herself. But we'll see how that goes. And it was very exciting. And you said you felt it because it was right on your sun, and your sun is in
Yeah.
the eighth house,
No, 11.
11th. I'm sorry. Right.
Yeah.
And how did you feel that with you said that was busy people?
It was busy, yeah,
Mhm.
with people I know, people I'm doing things with. You know, it had a lot to do with doing things. Let's go do
Mhm.
this. Let's go do that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that that's something that we can you can see that sometimes these positive aspects and conjunctions can be positive or they can add power. And if you've got a block there, it can add power to the block and be a problem, but it can just also add power to a particular house. So I'd like everybody to think, where do you have 7 degrees of Aries in your natal chart, and think about how that acted out this week, where you either had the new moon last week at 27 Aries, or the three planet conjunction with determination and verve, the Saturn, Mars, and Mercury at 7 degrees of Aries. And what did it inseminate? What did it begin in your life? And how can you roll with that and work with it, or redirect it if it's not working in a good way? So, those are three important pieces. So, Mark, what do you see as the more interesting transits for this week? Do you have anything that you've been watching or thinking about?
Yeah. Well, Venus conjuncts Uranus. They're both
Hmm.
in the very end of Taurus, about
Hmm.
to go into Gemini. And in fact, the next thing that happens after they conjunct is Venus steps into Gemini. And then we get the Sun squaring Pluto, and then Uranus goes into Gemini. So those players are all interacting. And it seems to me that Venus is offering a way out from the Sun square Pluto. Sun square Pluto can be very dangerous.
Yes.
It, it,
Yes.
Pluto is big transformations, big changes, big. It's also power plays.
Hmm.
Uh, it's being squished by someone else, or else deciding you're the squisher. But it, it is a dangerous sort of aspect, and we're dealing with a lot of dangerous situations right now.
Right. It is.
So
And it is. I'm hoping that people realize, and that Sun square Pluto, it happens twice a year, but still, it is on April 25th. It'll be on Saturday
yeah,
exact. And, keep an eye on people that you know are moody or depressed, or, feeling kind of, because it can be with all these Aries planets. Aries can be very spontaneous and impulse, has trouble with impulse control. And if you're very depressed, that can be dangerous. So just
yeah,
keep an eye on and check in with the people that you know that are having some tough times here.
and
See if you. Hmm.
that's where that Venus and Uranus dance plays in,
Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
can use that because the energy of Venus and Uranus together, uh, Taurus and now Gemini, is really very, very useful for dealing with friends, with uh, whatever attracts you to people and gives you friendships. And Uranus is offering to Venus unusual kind of friendships, things you didn't expect. So expect to get the unexpected from your friends and use that to deal with the power plays.
And that's a beautiful way of putting it. And that also you can use some of the Gemini lightness or humor or the
Yeah.
need to communicate, and really just let that be how people express that and find a way with it with you. So we ask you to kind of keep an eye on that. The Now Uranus goes into Gemini. It visited Gemini last summer and it goes back in now. Uranus was in Gemini and trining Pluto from 1945 to 1948. And it was, right in the heart of the World War II, and right before, right around the time of Pearl Harbor. And it's I think Pearl Harbor happened just before it, but it may be just before Pearl Harbor. It was right around that time. But it doesn't so much affect the starting of the war, but all the technological advances that came from that war. And now it's heading back into Gemini, and it will be sextile Pluto, an interestingly echoing aspect. And I'm hoping that this suggests that over the next 8 years, that we achieve a new form of that we have a technological leap forward that can help us break from fossil fuels, because there's such political pressure right now with climate change getting so much worse, and the war around who's in control of oil, that to break from that pattern we really need to step away from fossil fuels. And I'm hoping that that might be the result of this war. Also, Neptune is in Aries, where it went in the first day of the American Civil War. And then we have the uh, effect of Chiron is in Aries. And the last time it was in Aries was during the Vietnam War era. So there's several echoes to old wounds that America has. Can we learn from them? Can we use this and move it forward? Is a good question, but that's going to be a long time piece. Just keep an eye on what changes you feel and smell this weekend as Uranus heads into Gemini. It can give you and sense in the world that can give you some hints about the next 8 years agenda. Also, Pallas Athena heads into Aries, this kind of the need to speak for the truth, and that we might hear some more straight talking than we've heard in a while after that. And it can suggest that women or men that are comfortable with their feminine side can be part of the political leadership here and speak a truth that may not have been heard otherwise.
Yeah, Pallas has a very good sort of balanced warrior energy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It really has the warrior, but it's a balanced warrior. It's not one sided. And so it can actually bring warring factions together and have, participate in the same sort of strategies. So
Mm,
the strategic is more important to Pallas
right.
than power.
That's beautifully put. So on the 24th, tomorrow, Venus goes into Gemini and can rev up our nerves a bit. On Saturday, the sun squares Pluto and Uranus heads into Gemini and the moon heads into Virgo. Gonna be a lot of nervy energy over the weekend, and kind of don't believe your anxiety. Honor it, listen to it, use it to kind of get a lot done, explore possibilities, can smell what's coming next. But don't believe the kind of nervous anxiety, and watch that when people are winding out, it can be just like a dog that's getting overexcited. What they say isn't the point. You just want to take some distance and
Yeah,
ask and let them calm down first. Uh, and then on the 26th, Venus sextiles Neptune as Mercury squares Jupiter. That can be a good time, a time the moon will be in Virgo still, but it's an important time to kind of notice what's wonderful about the people around you. Go drop into the heart and find some compassion and creative process as Venus sextiles Neptune, and kind of believe that things are possible. Then by the 28th, Venus trines Pluto and squares the nodes. And there's kind of around the 28th, kind of expect some emotional depth. The moon will be in Libra by then, and it'll be, I think, our relationships. It could be in politics, it may be what's fair and how do we work with our allies, and or how do we not work with our allies. But in this, it can be how we at home, how do you support the loving kindness at home. Do you have any
good.
more comments for the weekend, how do you feel about Venus squaring the nodes before we get into the charts for people tonight?
It can make us aware of how our friendships sort of invite us to go one direction or another. We're often with the nodes, we're at a crossroads
Mm-hmm.
and we have to make a choice. And so when Venus is interacting with the nodes, you you are influenced by your friends more than usual. So pay attention to that because it's actually meant to help you.
Mm-hmm.
But your friends it might seem like they're blocking some paths, but look at the ones they're not blocking. And those are the ones to take.
Mm-hmm. That's
Because
beautiful.
actually, our friends can help us by blocking us from doing things that would not further our journey.
Yes. Yes. Trust your stay on target, as I think, because you like really feel
Yeah.
that direction. Now I'm going to pull up. We've got 3 charts we're going to try to get through pretty quickly. I want to let people know that we do take charts. We are about 2 months behind now on the chart requests. You can always reach us individually and through annortley.com, Mark through dharmarising.com, and me through rowanrobbins.com if your question is time sensitive and you need a personal reading. If you want to get put on the list, feel free to contact me at starcodes.heartcodes at Gmail, and we will put you on the list, though it's 2 months out now. So we have Janice here, and what Janice requested, let me pull that up, is she's been a fan of our show for years. For the last year and a half, she's been dealing with ongoing challenges at work, bullying from the management. She's a nurse at a busy hospital and loved the work, but the management has made it difficult. Do we see things changing anytime soon? And so we see, I'll pull up the tri wheel in a minute. It's going to be a rocky year. I think anybody with their sun at 5 degrees, at 4 or 5 degrees, is anything with any planet at 4 or 5 degrees of any sign. This summer in July, 5 planets will be at 5 degrees, at 4 degrees, and they will be saying nice things to each other. And if you have a planet in a fire or air sign, it'll be easier. But it'll still ask all of us to evolve, to change, to not blow up bridges, but to reorganize and reconfigure our life, I think is the way to put it. And she's going to be feeling that to her Sun Mercury conjunction because she was born with them very tightly conjunct, and that she's moving. Taking her personal authority. Notice, I think she might need to take with that Moon in Leo also over there. She needs to take some responsibility for the fact that her moods radiate. So she may say, all I said was, I didn't quite agree with it, but her thinking not much of the people that she works for, and she probably has a good point, even when she has a good point, they read her energy. And so just assume that you're dealing with people who know you don't like them. Um, and how do you be honest with that and see what you can like about them, or find a way to say, okay, I gotta shift out of this. It does not look like they change. You can diffuse the situation if you own it and see if you can be a little bit more direct with that. But your progress moon's in Pisces, and you may not feel like arguing with anybody anytime soon. So I'm wondering what we can do to help you shift that gear and find either a new place or a new way of dealing with these people or a new person to work, like shift departments, shift sideways. And because it looks like there is good changes around you, um, and that you might be able to take advantage of changes that are happening in the job to move to reposition yourself. What do you see, Mark?
It's really a lot about taking responsibility, and especially when you think you don't have the capacity to do that thing. When you hear the message, don't say that. You
Mhm,
can't say
mhm,
that
mhm,
here.
mhm,
Then realize that that's where you need to take action.
mhm, mhm. That Pluto square the sun, you can feel hopeless, and it's squaring the sun and Mercury this weekend, and it will again in the winter. But you're not hopeless. It may just use that discomfort, as Pluto is happy to make use discomfort like a crowbar to help us take a risk we might not have otherwise. Because a double fixed sign, you have sun, moon, and ascendant all in fixed signs, don't really like change, and they certainly don't like other people changing them. But it may be times Jupiter is in your sixth house, and there could be some uh, a health service nearby that is expanding and needs your help. Look for people that are expanding or growing, organizations that want to think bigger or deal with a larger population, and how helpful you can be with that.
Yeah, and the most helpful you can be is saying, "I'll take care of
Hmm.
that,"
Hmm.
and accept the chance to work on responsibility, and
And
it'll work with you.
someone asked here in our questions, is 8 degrees in orb? And I would say yes. It depends on
Yes.
8 degrees to what. But 8 degrees from an asteroid, no. Eight
No.
degrees from a planet, yes. Especially if it's applying, I give it up to 10 degrees, 11 degrees. That means moving closer rather than pulling away from. And Artina had a question. I'm going to take it back to this. And Artina said, um, and she was very positive. She's in her second Saturn return and wondering if she's going to lose her home that she worked so hard to get. But she's bumped into financial challenges that started 2022, 2023. Business partnership, breakup, divorce, closing business, loss of income. She's stuck in the middle of a decision: sell, move, or hustle my luck for some money. Is such a financial a blessing available to me to save my home without requiring a lot of time? I don't think I have time. I feel the walls are caving in on me. So here is her chart, and we see, uh, Pisces moon. It would mean so much to her with Saturn down at the bottom of her chart. She needs that rootedness of a home. And I would really love to see her keeping that home. Now, she's someone who the planetary lineup this summer might be really helpful to, because it is hitting all uh, in the, it will be hitting at 4 to 5 degrees of fire and air signs. And so this summer, I mean, her progressed sun, Pluto's going to come back to conjunct her progressed sun one more time. And I think that's part of what she's been going through in the huge changes in her life. But Pluto is an exact sextile. Sextile is a lovely aspect. But as they say, a kiss from the Lord of Death and Rebirth is still from the Lord of Death and Rebirth. It is sextile to her sun. Saturn and Neptune have already once conjunct and will come back to conjunct together, and they will be trining her sun, and it the and sitting on and coming up to her Saturn. Her Saturn return really hits next year. Her progressed moon has just gone over that Saturn and is about to conjunct, go into her house of home. I don't really see her moving um, with all of this. I feel like there's some major changes, and if you have to move, don't say Heather said I can't move. I'm not saying you can't move, but it feels like there's something about changing how you relate to the world and reorganizing things, and maybe your home, using your home as leverage. Like, I don't know if it's a roommate or if it somehow makes money for you for a while. Do you rent it out and rent someplace smaller so that you have a little income difference so that you can keep the house and then move back in a year or two? I don't get creative on what your possibilities are, because we don't know your situation. But there's a lot of astrological support for a change in gears that works for you. And that in 11 months, your progressed moon will be in Taurus in your house of home. So it looks like you're finding some new stability there, but it can feel really heated at the moment, and probably will through your second Saturn return, which is next year.
Yeah,
And but
you
yeah,
may hear a lot of excuses
hmm
when
hmm
you approach people to try to set up your home, and
make it work
don't
for you.
don't do it. Yeah, don't do it through other people.
Right.
Take care of
Find
all
it
the
your own way.
details and
It's like
find your way.
Airbnb. Yeah, it's just there's the house itself can be a resource to you, I think. Um,
Mm.
yeah, and really, Mark is absolutely right. Go listen to your own calling on this. Now, the one of the pieces that looks uh, strong with that second Saturn returns can often be a very empowering time for women. And it is, a time, I got my first book published then, that it's stepping into your queenhood. I think of it maid, mother, queen, crone. It's stepping in, like, now is time to do what you came here to do and let go of anything that's not really important to you, that's important to other people. You've cut out a lot of people in your life recently. Just feel it, like, good, I've pruned the tree, and so all the energy can go to those few fruit bearing trees, be- limbs. You kind of do what furthers your cause now. Not You're not here to mother everybody else. Uh,
Good.
and yes, and with um, Christina, and then this one is her question. And we're going to go a few minutes over time because we were really trying to catch up on our people. Um, Thank you for your videos. I find them very informative. I'm curious why I can't seem to find my purpose and I feel like I'm drifting through life. Now, this is, some people like to drift through life, but this person has, uh, 4 planets, an asteroid, and a north node in Capricorn. Do Capricorns like to drift through life? No, they don't. Um, but Pluto just got off your sun. Give yourself at least another year to take a deep breath on this. It's, the Capricorn moon in Leo, that Capricorn likes small goals and medium goals and large goals. And it's not a purpose so much as the habit of accomplishing. So it can be a cleaning out one drawer and celebrating it. Woo! It can be, yeah. I remember my father was once recovering from surgery, and he was doing a crossword puzzle, and he had a little Chinese gong, and every time he got a puzzle part in, he hit the gong, and it was like a celebration, like, I got it done. And I want you to hit the gong every time you do anything. You clean a drawer, you cook a dinner, and so that you have that sense of accomplishment. Capricorn needs, again, I always think, describe the mountain goats that we see here in Montana look silly on flat terrain, but they look so graceful climbing up and down a mountain. So if you can give yourself the habits of accomplishment, and don't worry about where they're going just yet until you begin to feel the call coming in the years ahead. Right now, I think that you're going to find that it's so much about just learning to, begin, accomplish one small thing. It's like the foothills that you climb to get to the mountains. Your progressed moon is in Cancer. It's right at the bottom of your chart. This is a time of family karma slogging. It's personal. It's kind of cleaning up things and getting yourself organized. In 10 months, after these new habits of just celebrating what's working and any small accomplishment begin to call you back to purpose as your progressed moon enters Leo in about 10 months and then moves towards conjuncting your natal moon. That's what I'm seeing. What do you see, Mark?
Yeah, there is a lot hanging on that progressed moon because
Hmm
it's moving toward the bottom of the chart.
Mhm.
It's in the third house going to fourth.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so use that energy of the moon crossing your nadir.
Mhm. Yeah, and that always feels like a time of kind of a turning point in doing deep personal work. And then starting the progressed moon starts to move back towards the top of the chart. And that's why I always think of it as karma sloggings. Like your work is with the people that you are walking through this life with and relating to take care of yourself and complete cycles with them at the same time.
And
And
another thing you
Mhm.
can do is pay attention to the small things
Mhm.
because you have a tendency to want things to be bigger. In order to have purpose, it must be big. But
Mhm.
no, that's not actually true, especially with karma slogging.
Mhm.
You take care of the little things,
Mhm.
and the big things will be built from what you've done on the little pieces.
And so I'm feeling that good things are coming out of this for her, Christina. Uh, Worry about the how rather than the purpose. Kind of come to love
Mm-hmm.
what you've gotten good at doing over the years. And then that purpose comes in later.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about, do we use wide orbs? For me, if it's applying, like it's about to happen, or you feel that every day it's growing closer by aspect, you know you will be dealing with its completion soon. I use that as a wide orb. If it's in the natal chart and it speaks of event that's coming up in the person's life by the progressed sun moving forward or progressed planets moving forward, I'll give it a wider orb. If it's separating or it's already reached its peak, I use a much narrower orb. That's how I do it. That's what seems to have worked.
Yeah.
How do you feel
Same,
about
same.
orbs, Mark?
Pretty much the same thing. They're more they can have a wider arc on the approach. When we're done with it, it moves away quickly.
Yeah. And I want to say thank you to all the people that have tuned in live and online. I see someone from Brazil listening to us. Wonderful. Great to have you here. To all of our people, I'm so glad that there is a community out there of people that are interested in real astrology and having this great discussion.
Okay.
So, would you like to take us out, Mark? Is there anything about the chart that's calling you?
Go back to the
Today's
set
chart.
of the set of planets in Aries.
Hmm.
Look at your chart, the one you were born with, and see where Aries is. Either 7 Aries with this conjunction or 27 Aries with the new moon last week. Either one of those, both Aries, see where they fit in your chart and what kind of energy that's bringing to you and how it spills over into the other planets that are connected.
Hmm. Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
This is Heather Rowan Robbins signing off for this week. See you next week. And we have Mark.
Mark Waltz saying thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.